She's not thinking about you. Right now. At this exact moment. She's not. And the reason she's not thinking about you is the same reason she will never miss you, unless you do the one thing I'm about to show you. Now, here's what makes this different from every other video you've watched about making her miss you. They all tell you to play games, go silent, post better photos, act busy. That's not what this is. What I'm about to tell you is something that will feel completely counterintuitive, something your instincts will fight against, something that, the moment you understand it, will change every relationship you ever have for the rest of your life. And it starts with a question most men never ask themselves. Do you actually have a life she could miss you inside of? Not a life you're performing, a life that is so real, so full, so undeniably yours, that when you're not there, she feels the absence like a room that suddenly lost its light. That's what we're building today. Let me tell you something about how the human brain works that nobody in the dating space ever talks about. Neuroscience has a term for it. It's called the contrast effect. And here's what it means. We don't experience things in absolute terms. We experience them in contrast to what came before. $100 dinner feels expensive after you've been eating at home all week. But after a month of Michelin-starred restaurants, it feels like nothing. Same food, same price, but a completely different emotional experience. Now, apply that to yourself. If you are always there, always available, always texting, always showing up, her brain has no contrast to compare you to. You are the baseline. And you cannot miss the baseline. You can only miss what's gone. This is the one thing. Not silence as a tactic, not disappearing as a game. Building a life so complete, so genuinely full, that when you step away from her, even briefly, she feels the contrast. And contrast is where longing is born. Let me tell you about a man I'll call James. James was in a 4-year relationship. His girlfriend told him near the end that she felt like something was missing. He didn't understand. He was there every day. He called every morning. He made plans every weekend. He was the most present man she'd ever been with. And yet, she said something was missing. He came to me confused. I asked him one question. When was the last time you did something that had nothing to do with her? He thought about it for a long time. I don't know, he finally said. Maybe 2 years ago. There it was. For 2 years, James had slowly dismantled his own life and rebuilt it entirely around her. His gym sessions, gone. His weekend trips with friends, stopped. His personal projects, abandoned. His ambitions, postponed. He was everywhere in her life, and nowhere in his own. And here's what happened inside her mind, not consciously, not cruelly, but the brain doesn't lie. She stopped feeling the contrast. She stopped feeling the pull toward him because there was no distance to create pull. He was already everywhere. You cannot be pulled toward something you are already standing inside of. Stop. I want you to answer this honestly. Not for me, for yourself. If she stepped away from you tomorrow, would your life look different? Would you have places to go, things you're building, people you're seeing? A version of yourself that exists completely independently of her? Or would there just be a gap where she used to be? Because here's the brutal truth. The size of the gap she leaves when she's gone is exactly the size of the life you have to live for yourself. Small life, small gap, small longing, full life, full gap, the kind of longing that brings people back. Which one are you building right now? Now, let me show you the 3 pillars of a life that creates genuine longing. And I mean genuine, not manufactured, not performed, not strategic. Because strategic absence is a trick, and she'll see through it in 3 days. But genuine fullness, a man who is actually living, that she will feel for years. Pillar 1. Mission. Not a goal, not a plan, a mission. There is a difference and it matters enormously. A goal is a destination. I want to make more money. I want to get in better shape. I want to travel more. A mission is a direction. It's the thing you'd do even if nobody was watching. even if it failed, even if she never knew about it. The thing that makes you get up before you need to. Stay up later than you should. Think about in the shower. A man with a mission is magnetic in a way that no technique can replicate, because she doesn't just see what he's doing, she feels where he's going. And a man who is going somewhere, she wants to be part of that journey, not the destination. The journey. Here's the fact most men miss entirely. Women don't fall in love with who you are. They fall in love with who you're becoming. Read that again. Who you're becoming. A man on a mission is always becoming. He's never arrived. There's always a next chapter. And a story with a next chapter is a story she can't put down. James had no mission. He was present, but he was going nowhere. And she could feel that. Not as a criticism. As a slow loss of something she couldn't name. What is your mission right now? Not the one you're supposed to say. The real one. The thing you're actually building, actually chasing, actually waking up for. If you had to answer that question in one sentence, what would you say? Write it in the comments right now. One sentence. Because the men who can answer that question clearly, specifically, without hesitation, those are the men that women cannot forget. Pillar 2. Brotherhood. And I don't mean just having friends. I mean having a tribe. People who know you, who challenge you, who show up for you, who call you out and show up anyway. Here's a fact that will change how you think about this. Research on loneliness and attraction shows that men who have strong social bonds, real friendships, not just acquaintances, are rated as significantly more attractive by women who observe them in social settings. Not because they're performing. Because there's nothing more attractive than watching a man who is genuinely loved by people who have nothing to gain from loving him. Think about that. When she sees you with your people, people who clearly respect you, who laugh with you, who listen to you, she sees something she can't manufacture for you. Social proof. Not from strangers on the internet, from people who actually know you. And here's the part nobody talks about. When a man has a real brotherhood, he doesn't need her to fill a void. He already has people for that. He doesn't need her validation. He already has that too. He doesn't come to her desperate. He comes to her complete, and complete men are the ones she thinks about when the room goes quiet. Pillar 3. Presence. Not the presence of being physically there. The presence of being completely there when you are there. This is the one that separates the men she remembers from the men she forgets. Think about the last conversation you had with someone who was truly, completely present with you. No phone, no distraction, no half listening while thinking about something else. Just there. Just with you. How did that feel? Different, right? It felt rare. Because it is rare. Most people are in the room but not in the moment, and a man who is fully present, whose attention doesn't wander, whose eyes don't drift to his phone, who responds to what you actually said, not to what he was waiting to say. That man creates an experience she can't find anywhere else, and experiences that are rare she returns to. In her memory, in her thoughts, in her longing. Not because you were always there, because when you were there, you were completely, entirely, undeniably there. And then you stepped away. Back to your mission, back to your brotherhood, back to your life. And the contrast, the silence left behind by a man who was fully present, that silence has a shape. And she feels it. Let me bring this back to where we started. She's not thinking about you right now. But here's what changes. A man with a mission, a man with a brotherhood, a man who is completely present when he chooses to be. That man creates something no technique can manufacture. He creates a gravitational field. And when he steps away, even briefly, even just to live his own life, she feels the pull. Not because he disappeared, because what he left behind was too real to ignore. And now let me show you the specific behavior that most men get wrong and how to correct it starting today. When things are going well, most men accelerate. More texts, more plans, more investment, more presence. It feels right. It feels like momentum. It feels like building something. But here's what she feels. She feels the pendulum swing toward her. And when a pendulum swings toward you, your natural response is to step back, not cruelly, not deliberately, just to restore balance. And the more he leans in, the further she has to lean back, until she's so far back that she doesn't know how to find her way forward again. The correction is simple, not easy. Simple. When things are going well, maintain. Don't accelerate. Keep texting at the same frequency. Keep making the same amount of plans. Keep investing at the same level. And when you step away fully. Back to your gym session, back to your project, back to your friends, back to the life she wants to be part of, and let her feel the contrast, not as a strategy. As a natural consequence of being a man who actually has somewhere to be. Here's the fact I want to leave you with, and it's the one that ties everything together. Missing someone is not about their absence, it's about the memory of their presence. You cannot be missed if your presence wasn't memorable, and your presence cannot be memorable if it's constant. A river you can wade across any time is just water, but a river that floods its banks for 3 days and then recedes, that river changes the landscape. You remember it. You feel where it was even after it's gone. That is what you are building. Not a man who disappears, not a man who games, not a man who withholds, a man whose presence is so complete, so full, so genuinely alive that his absence reshapes the room. That man she thinks about in the quiet. She thinks about when she's driving, when she's lying awake, when someone asks her what she's looking for in a partner, and she realizes she's describing you. And here's what I need you to do right now, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, right now. Pick one thing that belongs entirely to you, that has nothing to do with her, that you've been postponing, your project, your training, your craft, the business idea you've been sitting on, the skill you've been meaning to develop, the friendship you've been neglecting. Pick one thing and start today. Not because it will make her miss you, because it will make you the kind of man who gets missed. There's a difference, and it matters more than anything I could teach you. Write presence in the comments if this landed somewhere real for you. Just that word, presence. Because that's what this entire video is about. Not games, not tactics, not absence. Presence so powerful that even when you're gone, she still feels it. I read every single comment. And if you know a man who is making himself too available, who has lost himself in someone else's orbit, send him this. Because some men are one shift in perspective away from becoming unreachable. And unreachable is the most attractive thing a man can be. See you in the next one.